Oh my God. It's one of Dennis's rigs. Oh boy, I'd definitely get fired if I put one of those rusty things out there, boy.
Like the material.
Yeah.
It's nice.
That's the one thing about the studio is we don't do anything that's crap.
Right.
Like I won't. Like we've had customers ask me like, oh, I just want to do something cheap and everything like that. I'm like, well, you can call so-and-so down the road.
Can I feel the outside of that cup real quick?
You want to feel my cup?
Yeah. See, even those cups are really good.
Yeah, the other fancy.
I know those kinds of cups. They feel really nice. The bottoms are really hard, and you can probably keep it there for a while.
Yep.
And your coffee or your tea is not going to spill out. So I had to,
Like
I had to test you right there after.
I've had the cheap
appreciate
ones. I've had coffee full of it, and the bottom just fucking falls out of the thing and goes all over the place. In my truck, just fucking everywhere.
Dunkin' Donuts recently changed their cups to all paper. I don't go to Starbucks. I go to Dunkin'
Really?
Donuts. They changed them all to this like high durable paper cup, which I love because it's like environmentally friendly, whatever, like all this stuff like that. But it's not a piece of crap. You know what I mean? It's like a nice cup.
You know,
and I used to never get the small coffee because it was like this thin paper cup.
Yeah.
And I used to get a medium on purpose because it was like, well, I know it's not great for the environment, but I'll get the styrofoam one because that small cup is such a piece of garbage. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, now they've upgraded all their cups, and I'm like, I can get the small now.
Do both of you drink coffee?
Yeah, every day.
You want to know why I can't drink coffee?
Why?
Dude, I have to drink a little bit of an energy drink before charters and stuff. If I drink coffee, like, I got to poop instantly, dude.
Well, yeah.
It's like clockwork every morning.
And in my line of work, like, that's the worst thing that ever happened.
For sure.
You know?
No, absolutely. Like every time, like I make sure when I go fishing in the morning. No, I'm serious. When I go fishing in the morning, like I make sure that I drink my coffee as soon as possible.
Right.
So by the time I get to the boat, that I make sure that all my exit plan has been fulfilled.
Have you ever met any like coffee guys? Like,
what do you mean?
Coffee
like Juan
guys?
Valdez?
Well, my buddy Sean, he wakes up like 2 hours before an event, and we wake up real early for an event, and he organically makes his own coffee in the hotel room, and he brings a box full of this stuff, and he's in there, and he does it an hour or so before we leave the hotel room so he can do his business. But he's got like thermometer. He's like a chemist in there.
Really?
Yeah, he calls himself a coffee
Fly's
snob.
like that. Fly, but he's got the Cuban coffee thing. Like wherever he goes, because Fly travels all over the world.
Yeah.
But he said no matter where he goes, he always has his little Cuban coffee maker.
Right.
And he starts every day with that. Like no matter where he is, he could be in
Like the press.
Saudi Arabia. Yeah, the whole thing. And he does it like because he's, Cuban. As I'm sure anyone who knows him has heard him say, the crazy Cuban. But yeah, shout out to Fly. So anyway, welcome to Connected by Water, Taylor DeFusco.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Connected by Water, sponsored by Joey Cardi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. All right, and I want to say that right now they're still offering, I have to say, 0% financing for 72 months, no payments for 120 days. Select vehicles, and the vehicles that they have selected are gorgeous. So I just want to give a shout out to them. If you want one, if you want a truck, you want a Ram truck like I got, like a Rebel, go see Dean, check him out. Tell him that I sent you. It's really important that you do that, so he understands how it all happened and how it came to be that you own this beautiful Ram truck. And it's all because of Connected by Water. So, and also I want to give a shout out to ourselves. We just put a whole bunch of new stuff up on our site at connectedbywater.com. We get brand new artwork, brand new framed artwork, brand new apparel, brand new regular artwork, brand new face masks. Everyone wants the face masks now. We got them up on the site. All like that. All brand new designs. We did new designs in support of the C19 there. So anyway, that's my spiel of ads. So thanks for coming down, man.
No, thanks for having me, man. Honestly, I wanted to start off and say, like, it's very humbling to be sitting in this seat because of some guys I told you about. In the same seat that guys like Art Zapper, Skip Dana, and Jeff Maggio, and Chris Lemieux have sat in. And these, there's people out there that look up to like rock stars and like sports athletes. Those are the guys.
Yeah.
that
No.
I look up to, and Art probably thinks I'm a weirdo at this point because I'm such a fanboy of his, you know.
He should be. I mean, the Art's the man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're all fanboys of Art.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud
He
to
won't
call
admit
him.
it. He won't like. He's
No,
such a humble guy.
He's
humble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I aspire to be like that, you know, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Jeff Maggio, because I started 5 years ago, 6, 7, whatever, watching the Lunker Dog YouTube videos, and I wanted to do what he was doing, and he made fishing look fun and interesting and exciting. So shout out to Jeff. And
Big shout out to Jeff. You know, he's got that Real Guy podcast, and I think he named that appropriately because, like, he's like not even just he calls it real REEL. He's a real guy, like REAL. Like he definitely keeps it real. You know, he's been on the show. I've been on his show. You've been on his show. But even the conversations that I have with him off the show, he's the genuine article. You know, he really is. I mean, he's just, you know, he's no BS. He's no frills. He's just, you know, straight up, you know, hey, this is how it is. And this, you know, and that's how we all should strive to be. If you're going to be a fanboy of anyone, you picked a good one on Art Sapp. I mean, that guy's, you know, he's a legend before us. You know what I mean? Like a walking, living, breathing current legend. I mean, and I love him to death. The list of people that you named, I'm proud to call them my friends.
yeah,
I really
that's
am.
awesome.
And that's when we started this show. I was pretty much, you know, I'm like, you can take like you could take making a show in LA or New York and bring on people you think are famous, but we're all human, right? The people that I bring on this show, they're famous to me. Right? They're what I want to show to the world. And these are the people that are important to me. These are the people that I think are important in my life and important to South Florida, which is and will forever be our home. So, yeah, we don't need LA. We don't need California.
So I think it was like the first time I met
Or Hollywood, I should say, specifically. 'Cause I have nothing against California.
Yeah, I've been to Huntington Beach and all those places. Pretty nice out there. But yeah, the first time I met Art was at LunkerCon. The cool thing about Jeff is it brings so many real guys together. And I saw Art in like the corner, just hanging out by himself, and I was like, oh my god. I turned to my girlfriend
He
at the
tends
time.
to do that.
And I turned to my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, it's Art Sapp, dude. And I went up and like said hello to him, and I figured like, you know, he's famous in my eyes. He might say like 3 words to me. Dude, he sat there for probably like half an hour talking to me. And I went home, you know, and meeting guys like Jeff, you know, and these are like celebrities. And I don't think they know the impact that they have on other people's lives, and they're humble, and they won't say that they do, but they honestly do. It had a course of changing my life, honestly. And the funny thing is, the first time I fished with Art on my birthday, he took me out for my birthday.
Oh, yeah?
Dude, it was probably the nicest thing someone's ever done, and he still didn't really know me at the time. I didn't know like anything about kite fishing. Like I was a king fisherman where we just bump troll live baits, and like they got these kites up in the air, and he's got Jimmy.
How long ago was this?
4 years ago, maybe. So I've come a little way since then.
You've come a long way in a short period of time.
A little
it's
bit,
good.
yeah.
Nice.
And we would get a bite on the kite, and when you get a bite on the kite, you leave the baits out there. Well, I started clearing all the lines in Art's boat, and I don't put any of the rods in the rod holders. I stuck them all in a corner so they're laying.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Art must have been like, what is this kid doing?
Clearing the whole spread.
But he's so nice, you know? He's
that's
just
the thing.
He was just such a nice guy, and I would see him in the TV shows up in the tower, like left long, and like when I heard him do that, I was like, yeah, you know.
If I were to ever, because I have not yet heard, if I were to ever hear Art Sapp yell at someone angrily, I would be shocked. Like that would like take me back. Like I'd be like, whoa, never heard that before, you know.
Well, as a freelance mate, I work with multiple different captains, multiple different personalities, tournaments, private, charters from Fort Pierce to the Keys to the Bahamas, and I've seen both sides. And for some clients and with some people, both sides work. You know, sometimes I get fired up, and other times, kind of like what we were talking about this morning, being zenned out.
Yeah.
At like a crossroads in my life of like, which avenue do I want to take?
Yeah. Speaking of avenues, right? So we'll get to all this fishing stuff in a little bit. But when we first talked, because this is actually the first time you and I are meeting in person, right? But when we first spoke on social media, you kind of opened up to me a little bit about your story and your path. And I'll just set you up like that. But it was pretty compelling, and it struck me pretty deeply when you said that. And I'm like, that sounds like a pretty good story for someone to come on the podcast and tell. So how far back do you want to go to start this story? You got all the time in the world. I want to hear about it because this is kind of one of the big elements of what Connected by Water is all about how this community that we are, this Connected by Water community, really is our life.
Right.
And really is like this circle of people in this path that we've all kind of joined in unconsciously together, and here we all are, right? But you said that path and that community and fishing in general saved your life. How so?
So I will start off by saying I probably made every single mistake a young man could make in life. And I guess we can go back 5 years, Pompano Beach. I was homeless on a park bench here. During Christmas, it was December 25th, I guess the week of that. You know when people go through like a party stage and then they go to college and then they get it out of
I sure do.
their system. I did.
I've been there.
Yeah, I didn't, and I associated with drinking with a lot of activities in my life, including fishing. And those poor choices started to come up, and there was some consequences. And I've never been in that position before. Like growing up as a kid, I was always into sports, fishing, hunting, grew up with good morals and values. My parents were phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I could have come up with any excuse. I forged this weapon as a kid called the blame flower. And
The blame thrower? Like a flamethrower?
yeah.
Nice.
And I couldn't see my own actions.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see my faults for many years of my life. There was something wrong with my spirit. My spirit was just broken. And what comforted me and what my solution in life was drinking and being out with friends and going to the bars. And I was a bartender and server, and we thought that fling would get over, and it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I came here to Florida, I would see these SKA magazines of the professional kingfishermen, and there was this one guy on their Team Bandit, and it's Ron Mitchell, and he's a 2-time National Angler of the Year. And I really looked up to that team, and I was working construction, and I look at my coworker, and I was like, I want to be a professional fisherman. So Ron ended up giving me a tryout, and he's actually a Palm Beach sheriff. It's kind of funny, right?
Yeah.
For my past. And Ray Marine sponsored, the team. They got me a hotel room down here in Pompano. And all I had to do was not drink and work hard and go bait fishing and pre-fishing, and pretty much I'd be able to make the team. And you ever see that movie with Denzel Washington when he's the pilot and he's in the hotel room and the door opens and then the mini bar opens? All he's got to do is show up to that court date.
Yep.
And his lawyer will handle everything. That was the scene that I was in. I was like, well, I've been working hard for 2 days. I want to go get a cocktail.
Reward yourself.
Yeah. So I went to the lobby and got one mixed drink. I ended up at downtown Pompano Beach at an Irish pub. And
Briny?
I don't remember. So I was dancing with a bunch of girls, and this is the night before the tournament. I get back at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I get a knock at the door at like 3:15. And let's just say, the captain wasn't too happy, and I puked my brains out. So I had to really evaluate my life.
Mm-hmm.
And if I wanted a fishing career, I had to stop. And after that, I grew up. Real fast and met some really good people, and I take a couple steps each day towards what I get to do. And now today I'm not ashamed of telling people about my past, because if I can help one person out there.
Is shame a big part of it, though? I think about, maybe why people, won't take the steps, right? Because they don't want to admit. If I'm wrong about any of this, like, set me off. Tell me I'm wrong. But it seems to me like shame would be a factor in not, like, facing your problems, because you don't want to admit that I have a problem, right? I mean, I would think, now, we drink a lot of beer on the podcast. When guys come in, I always give everyone the option, like, hey, you come hang out. People want to come to the studio and have a good time and everything like that. But I don't want to. How do I say this? I don't want anyone to think that we have a blind eye to people that don't meet that situation the same as others do. I guess is one way to put it. So, and I really appreciate you coming in and sharing all this with us, because it is an important thing to talk about. We've had other people on the show, with Matt Williams and Troy came on to talk about, this similar topic, and it's got to be very tough. So you're completely, like, drink-free, whatever, right?
Yeah, for coming up on 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
I still get to do awesome, cool,
Mm-hmm.
scary, funny, crazy stuff. And I'm like a neutral party, right? So part of the people I surround myself with, we don't tell other people what to do.
Mm-hmm.
We don't tell people if they are or aren't, having like a drinking problem or not. I'm not here to argue with anyone on social media.
Mm-hmm.
We stay completely neutral from politics, all that stuff, as much as possible with the politics.
I try my best. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I try my best on this show to not talk about
Right.
it, but I don't know. He keeps blaming it on Jeff. That damn Maggio, right? Got me talking politics.
Yeah.
But we'll bring it up every now and then, and things like that. But I try not to go too far into that tangent. Like, definitely right now,
Yeah.
there is a myriad and a huge palette that we can access of politics at the moment.
No,
with all the
100%.
rioting thing like that. I really don't want to go there today. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's really not what the show is all about. And we can talk about it if you want to, but I mean, the keyboard warriors are out, like, in full effect right now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And everyone's got an opinion, and I respect it. But, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, there's going to be someone else that's going to come jump on your back and want to argue with you. So I'm just going to stay away from it right now.
Yeah. More or less, I was getting at that we let people find their own truth.
Right. That's exactly it.
I don't condone anything I did in my past.
Mm-hmm.
I was a very selfish, self-centered person. But what's pretty cool is I get on these boats, or obviously I'm a DD. I can drive people to the sandbar, and in the Abacos, a family I was staying with, and
Mm-hmm.
I would drive them around, and they can drink and have fun. And people would come up to me, and even women would come up to me and be like, dude, you're like one of the most mature guys, selfless guys I've ever met. And then I would start laughing and be like, well, you didn't know me like 10 years ago. So what is awesome, especially in the industry, and I know it's not just a fishing podcast, but my life is kind of surrounded around that, is I get phone calls from captains, mates, families of mates, in our industry. I mean, I've heard stories, especially back in like the 80s and stuff like that. The captains, was pretty reckless down here in Florida at one point.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is I get some phone calls from people that think they they just want to change their life. And it doesn't have to be surrounded by a substance or alcohol, they just kind of want to change. And the things and the steps that I take every day, I think it would help out the entire world, not just because it has to do with I finally can self-evaluate and do inventory on my daily actions. And I think that's one of the biggest, and own up to my mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Not perfect at it. All right, for the record, I'm not perfect at it, right? I have many faults. But I think in society these days, people have an issue with being able to look at themselves in the mirror, self-evaluate at the end of the day, and admit when they're wrong and then make amends. So part of this process of me being able to be free from alcohol or selfish and self-centeredness is I had to write a list of every single person that I've harmed in my entire life, and make an effort to make an amends. So you see these people that, some people would consider scumbags really turn their lives around and become more productive members of society than normal people. And I think that's really cool. I think it's an awesome awesome thing.
Yeah, definitely. I've had some close friends of mine. I've received letters like that, which, there was one in particular, and I'm not going to name drop, to where I was actually like, no, I don't want to forgive you. That was my first reaction. And, you hurt me pretty bad. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit if it was alcohol or,
Right.
or what it was. You know what I mean? But eventually I did call him. I did forgive him because I realized how hard that must have been for him, and, but it took me a while, to come to grips with that. But I'm happy I did, and I'm happy he did, and I'm happy that he's doing well now, and I really know we're not as close as we used to be, but at least he's got maybe that closure, and I do too, of, moving on and having peace behind you and in your wake,
Right.
which I think is just as important as a continued healthy relationship, because sometimes your past can haunt you. That's for sure, no matter who you are. Everyone's got their things that they regret, and people want to say, oh, can't regret anything. Well, yeah, you can, and it can live with you, but, you try to maybe shut it out or put it out or deal with it. I mean, maybe that's what you're talking about. I don't know, like dealing with that, and trying to not let the regret haunt you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole process called, taking out the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so focused on the now. And we were talking before about Zen and spirituality. Something in my life where my mind and my soul didn't meet my heart. There was a misfire. There was some wires that were missing. And the things that I did and the alcohol that was actually my solution. So when you take someone's solution away from them, they have to find something else, and it's got to be a positive movement. So I'm super positive for the most part. Spiritual, I'm not religious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what's your relationship with God?
So you know what the cool thing about
That was actually my starter question. I was talking.
Was it?
But we started talking about other.
No, that's
stuff.
fine. So I'm
because I think that's an interesting one too.
It is.
Because a lot of people either find it or reject it, or they just kind of happy medium. And I don't know. It's an individual thing, I guess, is my point.
It is. So with the people and the fellowship that I'm in and the people I surround myself with, is you can call it whatever you want, and just you believe that there's a power greater than yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a positive, happy, successful life and help other people. They set a very low bar, and I can dig that. It didn't scare me away. And I was like, this is so beautiful. I was raised non-denominational, but I went to...
This is in Jersey?
This is in Jersey.
What part of Jersey from? I know I'm going to get
South
off
Jersey. It's like Marlton, Medford, but I say Cherry Hill because a lot of people know that Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
Cherry Hill. So I grew up in the Pine Barrens, and a lot of people think Jersey is like a big city with like smoke and smog, and I grew up in log cabins, Cedar Lakes, Pine Barrens, whitetail hunting. And then we would go to the bay and the ocean, we'd catch flounder, weakfish, and whatnot. But
yeah, where my wife is from in Bergen County in Wyckoff, it's like the town she's from it's a postcard. Like when we go up there, like when we first started going up there, I was like, this is not normal. Like this is like really just the perfect town. You know what I mean? So like in New Jersey, there's a lot of that though. But there's like Newark. Everyone thinks New Jersey is all Newark, and that's only like a fraction of it.
Yeah,
but it's a beautiful state. It really is.
The state's split, so there's a line in the middle of it. Well, it's kind of north, central, south.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been in North Jersey. I'm not sure. And then the people from North Jersey don't come south.
Right.
And people will be like, where's your accent?
The Philly accent?
Well, we're Philadelphia. So South Jersey is Philadelphia.
Yeah.
North Jersey is New York.
Right.
And when you see the TV show and stuff like that, and then you hear this myth of that Jersey people have accents, that's North Jersey. From South Jersey, I don't really think we have an accent. Maybe a little bit of Philly.
You got a Philly. You like roads.
Yeah.
Like
I say coffee.
Yeah.
But that's about it. But I don't say Joyzy.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I think that accent really is a small percentage of the people that are from there. Most people don't. I mean, you can hear a little bit.
Yeah.
Like my wife doesn't have it, But she says Fort Lauderdale, like Lord.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's Lauderdale. It's not Lauderdale.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then there's like water
John's
and
over
water.
giggling.
They say that.
Yeah.
But everything's fast paced up there.
Yeah.
When you walk down the street, you don't really make eye contact. You don't say like good morning. When I came down south, joggers would wave and stuff because up north, be like, what do you want from me? Trying to rob me or something like that. Everything's fast paced. And then when I went to Publix down here for the first time, got my groceries, checking out, and this person takes my bags. I thought he was trying to steal my bags. I was like, yo, what are you doing? And the lady goes, relax, dude. He's carrying it out to your truck. I thought he was trying to steal my groceries. So that was my introduction to.
John used to work at Publix.
Yeah.
Yeah, for years.
Back
long time.
in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Publix. I like Publix. And you ask them
The
where something is,
hospitality's
they
great.
walk you to the aisle and, you know.
The hospitality is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I live a spiritual life, not a like religious.
How long have you been here? I have a reason for asking. Like, when did you move here from New Jersey?
I think it's been like 7 years. So maybe like
With your whole
2003
family or just you?
All right. So I used to vacation here every year in Port St. Lucie West since I was about 5, 6, 7 years old before like the big boom happened. So out in Port St. Lucie West, like near 95, it was dirt roads. We rode quads to 7-Eleven and horses to 7-Eleven. And then now it's all built up. And then my family stayed there. I used to vacation, and then I got a one-way plane ticket when I wanted to change my life around. And then my family, my cousins and stuff, as soon as I moved here, they moved to South Carolina.
Oh, really? So your folks are up in New Jersey still?
Yeah, my stepdad, who I call dad now, he has a house in Venice for the past like 4 years. So he just came and visited me and saw the boats that I get to work on and stuff.
Cool.
And he's the one who introduced me into hunting and fishing and the outdoors, which saved my life. Because if I didn't have a father figure in my life, I don't know where I'd be at right now.
Nice. So that's what you posted up the other day.
Yeah. I mean, my biological father was really good with the ladies. He impregnated 2 women at the same time and popped out like 4 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he left. He ran away to Arizona, and then he came back into our lives when I was in high school. So he was gone for like at least 10 years, and then one day he dropped dead of a brain aneurysm, and he had I guess brain cancer, and he dropped dead. So we buried him when I was in high school, and it was awesome to be able to get a couple years with him, you know.
Yeah.
And I use that as an excuse to go downhill for many years of my life. And now that I'm grown up, I don't use that as an excuse anymore. But I had my stepfather who, when I moved to Florida and I grew up, got my head out of my ass, you know, I called him dad for the first time. It must have meant the world.
That's awesome.
Must have meant the world to him, you know?
That's awesome. So getting back to the spirituality thing,
Yeah.
I wanted to lay a little groundwork there, or you lay a little groundwork for me when we were talking. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze you or anything like that, because I'm an artist. I went to art school, whatever, you know. I'm just trying to get to know you better here. Spirituality, where are you at with it now?
The whole COVID thing kind of hurts it a little bit, but a routine was for spirituality was trying to be in the now. So like meditation is really big. And I listen to these speaker tapes that are all about positive movements and whatnot. And it's how is my spirit when I walk into a room, you know, hey guys, you know, smile on the face.
Energy?
Yeah. So everyone thinks that spirituality has to be like this levitating monk. And if you want to take it to that level, that's fine. I speak on my own experience. It can be as simple as distancing myself from selfish and self-centeredness. And how is my spirit throughout the day? How is my spirit when things are good and when things are bad? And prayer and meditation goes into that. Fishing when the sun rises, comes up, you know, but some parts of fishing are pretty stressful and a lot of anxiety. So
For sure. Especially, I mean, you're doing a lot of tournament fishing.
yeah.
You know, I mean, I was tournament fishing there for a while. I mean, I put more of all my focus now into the studio because, as you know, so much preparation goes into it and so much, you know, with the pre-fishing and just even the money and just the investment or whatever in your time.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's
if you want to have, you know, the results that you're going after, you really got to put in the time, you know.
Like a professional sport and like any other professional sport
is.
or like a racing team, you know? That's why I thought about when you asked me kind of like that question. I kind of get pulled in two different directions. Where should I just go get a flats boat and move to the Keys and really be able to enjoy it? I'm not saying I don't enjoy sport fishing tournaments, and I hope it doesn't sound like heresy to the guys out there, but I don't know where I want to go. If that makes any sense to you.
It does.
Like when I'm on the flats boat with like one or two people and we're fishing, but it's different or when you're on a charter with like 6 people and you're trying to get them fish and they're complaining or good day or bad day, and then you got a captain up in the and just things aren't going right, you know, or even when things do go right, there's just so much involved. It's not like 100% all the time what's in the magazines and what's on the fishing shows. It's not. That's why I don't lie on my social media and portray something that I'm not. I show the good and the bad on my social media. So,
well, I mean, you know, you're putting the kites up, and especially if the seas get a little rough, I mean, it turns into a work day. That's for sure. You know, we all get enjoyment out of it. You know what I mean? And, you know, you find yourself into the sails or you put a big slob over the rail. I mean, it's like there's a lot of reward in that. You know what I mean? But it's work. But like you're saying, yeah, I agree with you. You know, I love those days of going out on the flats and taking it easy and, you know, hearing the peace and quiet and, you know, focusing on the art of fishing, I guess you should say, because I think, you know, getting out on a huge center console and throwing the kites up and, you know, fishing for numbers and, you know, like the amount of sales you can get and, you know, working hard and constantly moving and just never stopping. You know, that's the work of fishing.
Right.
You know, and I think more the flats is more the art of fishing because there's more touch and there's more, not that there's not touch and angling on, you know, a charter or something like that, but
and
you know what I'm saying?
They can catch like one fish, like a bonefish, and like appreciate and spend time with that fish.
Yeah.
And that's something in my life right now where, you know, when you go to the Bahamas, I think Art was hitting on it too, where everyone tries to limit out. You're not a good successful fisherman unless you limit out on this thing. And I'm starting to kind of shy away from that. I have to catch some fish to be successful and have people hire me on their boat, you know. But nowadays, it's not really about the fish or like the art of fishing. It's like, can I go and get my wahoos in the Bahamas or limit out on yellowfins or all this and that, or get my numbers and how many flags are on my pole. And don't get me wrong, that stuff gets me fired up. Sure. It really does. And when
it's just a different day. It's just a different kind of day.
It's, yeah. And then there's days where I'd rather maybe go flats fishing, but I don't know if you understand. I'm kind of like in the middle. I don't know.
No, I do. I'm the same way. I really am. I love, listen, I paint fish for a living, right? And I don't discriminate. I love them all. Like people ask me that all the time. What's your favorite fish to paint? All of them? You know, I really mean that. You know, it's like, yeah, of course I love doing a sailfish with that beautiful bill and the sail and the colors and everything like that. But be honest with you, I paint more sailfish than anything because that's the biggest request that I get. You know, for all these shirts, most of the shirts I create are for, you know, people want like a sail and a marlin and a yellowfin, and you know, it's like, okay, but I do so many sailfish that it's like I just want to paint something else for once, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, you know, maybe at once it was my favorite, now it's not anymore, kind of thing. But it depends on the day. It just turns into a different day. You know, each day is a different adventure on the canvas or, you know, on the screen or whatever it is. But, you know, I love going over. I was the artist a few times for the custom shootout. You know, we go over there for the tournament, and you know, Skip Smith would be like, "Hey, you want me to get you on one of these marlin boats? I get you on one of these marlin boats." And I'm like, "No," because they already have their team set. I'd just be along for a ride. I'm not going to be reeling the marlin during the custom shootout. You know, they're going to give that to one of the registered anglers, or you know, definitely not some dude that they just met. So I'm going to go on the other side of the island and I'm going to fish for bonefish. I do it every time. And it was...
That must have been so cool.
Yeah, man. Best experience ever. You know, and if you want to catch bonefish, the Bahamas is the place to do it. Marsh Harbor, before all this crap went down, epic place to go bone fishing. I mean, it would just be like, you know, you go for a half day and just you can catch like 7 bonefish in the morning.
Yeah, you know, when I get excited is I'll have friends that will be like, hey, do you want to go offshore on your day off? And I'll be like, I won't get too excited about it.
Right.
Depends on what day I'm at. I might go out with you or not because it turns into work. And I try to be as nice as possible about it, but some people just don't understand. And they end up thinking that you're a dick anyway for not wanting to go and help them out. But it's like a day of work. But when my friends invite me out on the flats boat to go snook fishing or red fishing or trout fishing, I get
Yes,
fired
every time.
up, dude.
Yeah.
I get excited because just dropping the boat in early in the morning, getting some bait, or just even getting a lure and just
It's an
being
easy
able
day,
to
man.
cast it, and it's just
They're
I
two
want-
different worlds, really.
Yeah.
They are inshore
Yeah.
and offshore fishing.
He's a master snook fisherman.
Well, Dennis likes to call me a master snook fisherman.
you gotta teach me. We have good snook fishing up in Stewart and
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
mangroves. Wish
Yeah,
it was
George.
more.
That's George's backyard.
Yeah.
And George and Rufus. Yeah, it's their backyard up there.
So Rufus is a really good guy.
Mhm.
I've talked to him on the internet, and George is a great guy. We've taken George's dad to the Bahamas.
Oh, really?
Before, yeah.
Nice.
George's dad's a good guy. If I have extra mahi fillets, I'll stop by George's dad's house there in Jensen and drop it off to him. But George is like one of those guys I look up to as well. You know,
George is cool, man. So is Rufus.
and
They're
Rufus
they're
has
both cool.
how many world records does that guy have? Like,
I'm not really sure. I mean, at one point he was seeking out to be the first person to catch all 7 species of billfish on fly within a year, and the only one that eluded them was the sword.
have you ever fly fished?
Yeah.
I've never done it.
Yeah, actually, recently started fly fishing. It was one of those things that was something I've always wanted to do. It takes a little while, to kind of get the haul down and the last 40 feet or whatever they call it, and it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's also not the hardest thing in the world. It just takes a little bit. Like, you just got to learn. Kind of like playing guitar. You got to kind of do a little repetition. You know what I mean? Get the calluses on your fingers or whatever, and just kind of like, just get the rhythm, learn the rhythm, and feel it. That's really what it comes down to.
That's got to be the ultimate zen, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting,
Or
that's for
frustrating
sure.
as well.
That's what I was going to say. It's very frustrating. There are times where it's not easy. You know what I mean? Especially with bonefish. Getting that, getting like your first one. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it is very rewarding. That's for sure. Yeah, no, I love it.
I've never caught a bonefish on the flats. You want to hear my bonefish story?
I do.
So I used to live down in Islamorada. That's where I started.
Where about?
It's called Venetian Shores. It's right next to the Coast Guard station right there.
Yep, I know where it is.
Made a mistake of moving down there with a girl. Didn't work out.
Oh boy.
If you bring a woman down there, you got to beat the locals off with a stick,
Yeah.
So I learned my lesson on that one. But so I started working on a head boat where pretty much I think any mate really starts off, and we would do these nighttime yellowtail trips. And we were catching bonefish on chicken rigs, like 50 of them
Come on.
in one night.
Really?
It blew my mind, and the captain said, yeah, something like they spawn out here sometime of the year. So I was trying to tell the clients, you guys are catching fish on chicken rigs. 3 at a time, what people spend thousands of dollars doing. And then they'd be like, all right, thanks, man. Here's $5. They're like, thanks.
I have someone that's not going to be named caught a bonefish by accident. God, I shouldn't say this. Put it up on a kite. I actually caught a sailfish on it.
Well, I've heard they're great marlin baits.
I'm sure they are. But
I've
this is
heard.
the first time I've ever heard of anyone bridling up a bonefish and throwing it up on a kite.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you think about it, it probably does make a fantastic sailfish bait.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
especially if it's a little one.
Well, when I'm in my kingfishing tournaments, we'll catch a certain big bait, and then the sailfish always eat it. So I know that there's like sailfish guys, and then there's like meat guys.
Mm-hmm.
I work and do tournaments on both sides, and I love both. But my favorite fish is to get those slimy kingfish. I love it. There's nothing that gets me more fired up than kingfish. And just
Really?
like how Art loves his sail fishing, and when we go kingfishing, we'll catch sailfish.
Right.
When we go sail fishing with Mono, we get bit off by big kingfish. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And
So there's nothing more rewarding to you than a big slobby king.
I love it. Chasing it down and gaffing it with a big 12-foot gaff, and during a tournament or not during a tournament. And I don't really think they get the recognition that they deserve. I guess I'll speak for myself a little bit, but when you're on a charter and the sails aren't biting, the mahis aren't migrating, the tunas aren't migrating by, I mean, kingfishing off the reef is like a go-to, and I think we take it for granted, especially in the charter industry, that those can save our trips catching those kings. But when I mean kingfish, I'm not talking about the 7, 10 pounders,
The
12.
snakes and
The
all
little
that.
rats.
Yeah.
Dude, the 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus, it's an entire different animal. And to be able to land a fish of that size, everything has to go right, you know? And when the clients see that fish, because they'll be like, well, I don't have a smoker, so let's hold off on the kingfish. And then they hook into a 40 pounder and it just peels drag and they're fighting it and it comes overboard. They're ecstatic. They love it. And then they give it a little bit more respect. But like, so when I get on the boat with captains, I always joke with them that I put wire on everything. I put stinger rigs on everything. And the sailfish guys love yelling at me.
There were so many kings biting. I think it was the last Jimmy Johnson that people were using wire on their kites.
Yeah.
For that one, just because so many kings were, biting off the mono. I think it was like days who a lot of people were switching the wire.
What's crazy is I catch a lot of fish on wire off the kite. You know, sails, tunas, and sounds like heresy catching tuna on the wire. I've caught my biggest blackfin on wire. Obviously wahoo. You've had Ricky from Real Easy on here. The 66-pound bull dolphin. I was on the rod for that.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
You caught it. Wow, nice.
Yeah. Well, the team caught it, but yeah.
Yeah, the team, of course.
But yeah, don't ever want to do that again. Hour and a half long fight on like a spinning rod. That came off of wire with a stinger rig in it. I've caught yellowfins.
Yeah.
Biggest yellowfin I've ever seen was caught on wire.
So I'm going to give speaking of yellowfin, wow, I got to give a shout out to my buddy Carl Schachter. Did you hear this story?
What?
This, what is this, 2 days ago? Like it was over the weekend. He just goes out casually fishing with his dad, right? And he's waiting for bait, live bait, and there wasn't much left by the time they got to him. So he only got like a dozen pilchards and like a half dozen gogs or something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
So he's like, great, it's going to be a great day. So I think by like 9:30, they only had like 2 goggle eyes left. And I'm pretty sure they caught the elephant on the downrigger. And, but he was shocked. It was just screaming like line off. And sure enough, it was like right outside here. I think maybe it was Lake Worth. And, he's like, sees sickles. He's like, oh my God, we tail wrapped the yellowfin.
They tail wrapped it?
Tail wrapped it and brought it up, and the thing was huge. So John will throw the picture up here, I'm sure, just to see. But it was a big one. I don't know how much it weighed, but
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, the way he told the story was just like, after that, they're like, all right, we got no bait left. Let's go home. With this huge ass yellowfin, like he's gonna have that memory with his dad forever.
And they were already thinking it was gonna be a bad day because they didn't have a lot of baits,
Correct.
right? So
Right.
That's usually when the good days happen. When you don't have enough bait.
Here he was just thinking like it's gonna be a shit day. We have no bait. Blah blah. blah. And I think he had some tackle issues too. And then
when things just weren't going right.
Things weren't going right, and all of a sudden that monster bit him.
So I usually bring a GoPro. So that's kind of like how I started my little career, as you could say. Is I didn't have like parents in the industry. I didn't have like a brother. I didn't have any like friends in the industry. Like no one knew who I was. So I'd bring like a GoPro and put it up on the T-top or something like that and just film myself like fishing with friends and stuff. And it seems like whenever I don't bring the GoPro is when you'll have like a really good fish on, like, you know?
Yeah, it's never when you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And then like with these tournaments, we'll take a week to prep, look at every single hook, every single swivel, go over the boat, go over plans, weather patterns, moon phases, tides, right? And we'll catch a bigger fish going out with like my friend and they're drinking a couple beers.
Yeah.
You know? It's funny how that works out.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe the fish feel the zen.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe they feel the vibe. Like maybe they felt like Carl with his dad having that like moment with him, and you know what I mean. Maybe they feel the beers, or whatever. Like whatever, just the hangout time and all that stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe there's some vibe to that. Maybe they feel that in their lateral line.
I haven't had that happen yet. That's an awesome thing to happen to yellowfin close here. It happens.
No, it happens, but it's very rare.
It's rare.
Yeah.
My buddy Austin, I think he might have been on Offspray out of Lake Worth. They got a yellowfin off the kite this year, and they got it by the sharks, which blows my mind. The shark issue is just
the shark issue is bad.
So like when getting to the Zen thing, it's tough to be Zenful or like spiritual out on the boat or calm, even with clients, because try to explain to them, hey, if you hear us saying real, or if you hear us getting excited, it's because there's such a big shark issue here. We're not yelling at you personally.
Right.
But it's almost to the point sometimes where they will not get a single fish to the boat. And you have to chase them down. We have to use bigger line, bigger hooks. We got to get on these people about there's no just setting up a drift and putting out a bait and letting them, fight. And they're eating sailfish. I was releasing one off of a boat, reviving a sailfish, and a bull shark came up and got it. And now I don't even feel comfortable leaning over the side.
Yeah.
With the sailfish. So I will put that out there, that if they see any of my videos and if we're a little high strung and stuff during tournaments or on charters, it's not because we're not trying to be unprofessional. It's just that we know with the shark issue.
Yeah. And you want people to catch fish too. You want them to have a good time.
Yeah.
You want them to feel that moment. It's good for your business. It's good for their experience.
I care a lot about the clients, and I think I take home a lot more than what I should emotionally wise and whatnot. But this is all I got. So some people have a business to go home to. Some people have like a family or kids to go home to. When people say like, relax, dude. Well, this is it. This is my life. So I take a lot of pride, good pride, and passion into what I do for clients or for tournament fishing, et cetera. So there's been times where a mistake would be made or we lose a tournament or something like that, and I feel it. And you get back up on the horse and you learn from your mistakes and whatnot. But I generally there's been some tournaments where I almost cried. I think in almost any sport, when you put your whole life into it and you come up to this moment and you fall short, I think that can hit you a little hard.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially someone who's had a journey like you have had, because obviously you're passionate about this sport and you love it, number one, right? But when you kind of use it as the new base for your life, like you're saying, it means that much more. I mean, and people could even look at here in the studio, if I can throw out something that's relatable. Where I have made the conscious effort in my life to dedicate painting fish. Right now, I'm also an artist for the United States Mint. Whoever watches the show understands that. I can paint and draw, whatever, people, cars. It doesn't matter. Abstract, textural things. So, but I choose to paint fish. It's not that that's the only thing. This is because that's what I'm most passionate about. And that's what I love the most. I've wanted to do that ever since I was a kid, just to have my own marine life art studio. For hell or high water, caution of the wind, or whatever you say. That's what I want. In the art world, it's probably not the most highbrow, art topic or subject matter there is, but I really don't care. That's not what it's about to me. To me, it's about how I feel inside, and how I want to put that out on paper or canvas or whatever, So I can kind of understand where you're coming from with revolving your entire life, because at the end of the day, it's I got a family and everything. I got my wife and my kids and everything, but from a professional standpoint, that's it for me. There's for the rest of my life, I'm all in on the fish. There's no other plan B.
Right.
There's no thing beyond this. There's no I'm going to do this for 10 years. Maybe I'll sell all the content, sell the studio, and open up a hardware store. It's no.
100%. Fishing's an art.
Right.
I compare the two a lot.
Yeah.
When I'm at home, when I'm not out on the water.
Fishing is definitely an art.
Working. I'm at home rigging.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like how I gave those guys a shout out before, I got to give a shout out to Ron Mitchell from Team Bandit from Suzuki Pro Team, because he taught me about the live baiting. Mm-hmm. Carl Torsen from Slob City, who just won.
Yeah, shout out to Carl. Good job in that last tournament.
Dude, those guys worked their tail off, and Mike Wood. You had Mike Wood for that tournament, a couple of really good guys.
We had Rory on the show too.
Yeah.
Rory Cam. Yeah.
And
real good dude.
Those guys taught me the live baiting And then that's like an art form in itself with the kite fishing and stuff like that. And then Scotty Fawcett's younger brother, Scotty Fawcett, runs Off the Chain up in Stewart. And up there we do a lot of dredge fishing, sail fishing, deadbait fishing. I think Art was from Fort Pierce or fished a lot up there too. But his younger brother Eric was my roommate, and he taught me like how to properly rig a ballyhoo and do all these different kind of deadbait rigs. And it's an art form to do this. So I got to give credit where credit's due, and guys like Captain VJ Bell and Pat Price. Like I looked up to these guys and tried.
I love VJ. Yeah,
isn't he such a nice?
He really is.
Nice guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. The and to that point also of the things you're talking about with, the live baiting techniques and all that. If you've seen the Tournament Talk editions of this show, and if anyone's watching now, go back and watch some of those Tournament Talk episodes and watch all the ones moving forward, because, Art and Skipper actually, they're laying some knowledge down that I'm actually surprised that they talk about in the public forum sometimes, some of the things that they reveal about their techniques and their methods. So if anyone's aspiring to understand about live baiting, especially because that's primarily what they do, that's a good way to pay attention.
I follow and I watch. See, what like fishing, or I think anything in life, I think I found like the hidden code. Find someone that's good or the best at it, follow them around, do what they do. And that's what I did in fishing. And that's why I wanted to stick with freelancing, because I fish different inlets, different captains, different rigs, different styles. And all I'm doing, and that's why I give these shout out to these people, because I didn't make up any of this stuff. So I don't take any credit for like anything, because all I did was copy what the best guys are doing, and they were nice enough to hand this knowledge down, and that in itself is worth thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, because with the knowledge that these men passed down to me, which I'm so grateful for the guys I mentioned before, because you can win tournaments with that knowledge. You can start a charter business with that knowledge. You can have fun on the weekend with your kids with that knowledge, So those guys are like, and then they learned from somebody. So it got passed down. But there's also that competitiveness where you can't put everything out there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's what they say. Like I think when Rocky and Apollo Creed were gonna do their fake fight, the little sparring fight.
Yeah.
Apollo once says, I may have taught you everything you know, but I haven't taught you everything that I know, kind of thing. Which is probably the case there with guys like Art. We've discussed it before. We're like, experience is the greatest teacher, better than any college degree that you could ever receive. Bar none. You can get a book education all you want, but until you actually go through the motions. And when I ran that department, when I was a creative director in the music business, I had at one point I had 20 designers working underneath me, and I would hire a lot of entry-level designers that would come in, and the first thing I would tell them is, don't take offense to this, but you don't know anything. You think you're a hot shot coming out of school and you got this smashing portfolio. That's what got you in the door, right? Your education begins now. And that's what I would always tell them. And I'm like, I have no problem being your teacher. I consider this your master's degree, and it's called job. Right, so you're going to work hard, and you're going to learn a lot of new things. Some of them didn't really like the fact that I said that. They thought they were, their shit didn't stink. Come out of art school thinking art school's really weird, because you do have a tendency a lot of times to get these teachers going, oh, you're going to come out and you're going to make all this money and you're going to be this great job and you're going to be a rock star designer and like all these things like that. And I would basically try to tell them as much as I can, like, leave that ego at the door, because I'm about to teach you some things that, you didn't know you needed to know yet. And sure enough, a lot of them would come back and be like, well, that's right, I thought I knew this, and now I understand. And then some people would just let their ego get the better of them,
right?
Walk the other way. And
you see that in anything in life.
That's
right?
my point.
Yeah.
I'm bringing up my parallel,
right?
To bring up an example of what we're talking about there. But a guy like Art Sapp, well, like he may say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna use a smaller hook on the long, you know what I mean, on the left long or whatever like that for whatever reason."
Right.
But it may be 3:30 on day 2 of a tournament, and the water ripples a certain way, and the wind kicks up a certain way, and a guy like that who has so much experience on the water will be like, "I remember the last time that happened, it really went off this way or in this spot. I'm going to go there right now." And that's how guys like that, you see them on towards the end of the tournament, you see their numbers start.
It's
And
spectacular.
when everyone
I
else
get
is just
goosebumps
standing
just
still,
talking about
when
it.
everyone else
Yeah.
is just sitting there, and you're like, how the hell is Sandman rising like this so quickly? Why is it just Bar South and Sandman and Native Son? Well, how come everyone else is just standing still in there? That's why. Experience, consistency, dedication to the sport, right? All that stuff matters. It takes time. And like you said, it's invaluable. Right? So when people do share that knowledge with you, you better listen.
Yeah.
You know?
I just pray that I hope I can keep a good attitude, because I'm new.
Maybe that's
Young.
the secret sauce, though.
Keeping a good attitude.
Yeah.
I think it is. Because
there's a lot of jaded guys in this business.
yeah.
A lot of them. And I think that's their downfall.
Well, some people, I don't have my captain's license yet, not running a boat. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I'm just fine. I'm learning right now. I get to fish on a lot of different boats. I don't have to be Michael Jordan. I'm fine with being Pippen right now, and it gives me more time to learn from these guys. And I'll tell you what, a couple of captains that I learned from coming up in the industry when you're a greenhorn, they tore my ass up. It wasn't like the new generation type stuff. Like these were old generation where they scold you in front of clients during a tournament. If there was women, no women, like you got your ass chewed out if you made a mistake. Yeah. And it will humble you very quick. And if you think that you can get, you can get off the boat right now. And I didn't like those guys at the time because they hurt my feelings. But now I thank them every single day for how hard they were on me to adjust. And I'm not saying that everyone has to teach that way. I'm just saying that's the way that I was taught. And now what I've done with those guys, I can handle almost, I think, a lot of experiences.
Yeah, that's good.
Out there.
That's good. Well, I guess the point to that, not every moment in your life has to be the moment. There are teaching moments and learning moments. And you have to understand, you have to recognize them.
Like it's good at the time.
Right.
It's all about, see, like when I changed my life around, what I like to say is I found a new set of glasses. Mm-hmm. I viewed the world differently in myself, right? So like that, in that moment, I'm like, I can't work for this guy anymore. He's off the chain. You know what I mean? He's crazy. Now with my new pair of glasses, I look back on that experience and be like, dude, thank you for being hard on me, because I understand what you were going through and how much you were trying to teach me and how much your business is invested on me making mistakes or not making mistakes or being responsible for your boat, for your livelihood, for your family. There's a lot riding on these guys. Now I understand.
But some guys are also just assholes.
Yeah,
some guys,
trying to be as nice as possible.
There is that too, you know, where it's just like you're just unreasonably just a bitter prick. There's no getting around that sometimes. So, I mean, sometimes it's not always the teaching moment, but I think you can still learn from those guys too. You can learn from the bad just as much as the good. Right. It's all experience. Right. I had a boss once, to bring up a parallel to this. We were working in the company, and I was moving up, and I had a whole department to myself. And I was kind of staged to take the next level in my executive growth, right? And this isn't, I own my own business now. I own my own art studio. My dream is fulfilled. Like, I have no regrets about this scenario. But at the time, I was starting a family. I thought that corporate life mattered and everything like that. I'm so happy that I'm like over that in my life, over that mindset of being controlled by corporate America. Because even though I worked in the music business, right? Even though I worked in the music industry, it was still a corporation. It was a very large company. I love all the people that work there. I really do. I have great, and I still do have great relationships at that company. But but I was poised to take the next step in my executive growth, like to go from like senior creative director to like a VP of whatever, and at the time I thought that's what I wanted or needed in my life. Looking back on it now, it's not what I needed or wanted at all. So when we get a new CEO replacement, which I was like, damn it. 'Cause now this new CEO doesn't know me, right? And I'm going to have to redo all this stuff again and all the groundwork I laid with the previous CEO. And I was, going to get promoted and all this stuff like that. Now I got to prove myself to a brand new guy. And I was bitter, right? And I probably wasn't myself. And I would go to the meetings and I'll be like, whatever. And I was, now I got whatever, right? So he sits me down in one of my we had the employee reviews, sits me down and he goes, your attitude can be a little better. And I'm like, oh, because historically speaking, and this is no bullshit, in that company, I had the best attitude. I almost had a reputation of being like a good attitude employee, like all the time.
He said that right off the rip?
Yeah, first time I ever heard that about myself in my professional career. And I took it the wrong way. And he goes, listen, I'm going to tell you something. He goes, I don't care how you look at me right now. And this is probably one of the most important professional speeches I was ever given. He goes, I don't care how you're going to view me right now. I really don't. You may think I'm a complete dick. He says it just like that, straight up in my review. He goes, but I'm saying this for you, not for me. He goes, give me this. He gave me the whole speech about attitude and how it relates to people and everything like that. I'm like, how can you say that to me? You don't even know me, blah, blah, whatever. 6 months later, I left the company, right? And he goes, one day, he's like, you're not going to think about this now as being helpful. He goes, one day you're going to look back and be like, this conversation was very important to me. And it was very helpful. And I'm like, whatever, I was very bitter after that whole meeting and everything like that. But sure enough, years later, I look back on it, I'm like, he was right. And it took a lot for me to kind of find that humble moment.
And say that.
And I probably didn't articulate the way he kind of said that story to me, because it's a very long story and I don't want to kind of go down that road too far. But sure enough, he was right. And I even Facebook messaged him recently and I said, you said that, and he was like, he kind of just like gave me a thumbs up and a wink and he goes, you'll be fine, blah, blah, all this stuff like that. But I think you got to really find your humbling moments like that and understand that just because you got yelled at one day or reprimanded one day, you can turn it into a productive moment,
right?
If you're looking at it the right way. I guess that's all I'm trying to say about it.
100%. It taught me a lot. I mean, there's no HR department on the boat. You can't go like complain. It's this way or the highway, and there's certain things that are unacceptable that cross the line. There are those times like what you said.
Yeah.
Some guys are just not very nice, but I think it's a very good learning lesson, and I think it builds character. To a certain extent, like I said, there's lines that I don't care if you're the president of the United States or a billionaire, that if you cross that line, then I will discontinue our relationship. But I think there's some great moments, like sometimes I got to tone it down a little bit when I fish with like friends. And we're like fun fishing because I'm still in tournament mode, so what I find, and I'll get honest, on a podcast in front of a room full of people, because I think the first level is to get honest about it. And then you can change your ways a little bit. I think you got to be honest, is that, changing that gear from going from like tournament mode or anything in life and taking a step back and just breathing, because I've been told, or I can see, that the same things that I've done to like my friends or someone with like, let's say, less experience than me, was the same thing that those guys that I didn't like what the captains were doing when they were yelling at me. And when you lay your head down at night, I think about those things, and it would hurt me a little bit, Does that make any sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So the same thing, and it's like, it's just so crazy how that works, isn't it?
Yeah.
So crazy.
I think what it comes down to is, the experience gives you perspective, right? But you got to take that with you. You can't forget, You know, that moment, you know, and you got to recognize it when it happens. I mean, the next time, you know, and just keep like life is one big overlap of that, you know, ongoing. You got to keep like learning and keep like almost evolving, you know, and that goes for, you know, in a tactile way, it's in a spiritual way, in a giving back way, you know, operationally speaking, like how you conduct yourself, you know, just the little things, like the minutia of your daily day. You always try to improve on that,
Right.
you know, and you know, it's all just living, man. You know, and at the end of the day, I think you just need to be productive. You know, find some peace within yourself, and not do harm to others. You know, I think if you can find like your happiness, like using that as a basis, then I think you'll be all right.
Yeah.
You know, really.
Try to be as professional as possible, especially in
but
your industry, this industry. I mean, image does have something.
For sure. I mean, but you know, you don't want to sell yourself short with your core value of who you are. Right. You know, and your character. You definitely don't want to sell your character short by being too professional to the point where it's not genuine or authentic. Right. Because the authenticity goes a long way.
So I was telling you about my social media. Like, people are like, you do a lot of goofy stuff. Like, well, that's me. Yeah. You know? I actually had someone tell me that. They're like, do you want to be an ambassador for this product? And then the company said that my content's too weak. And it didn't hurt my feelings or anything like that. But like, my product's like Jeff's. It's real. Right. This is like real stuff. And it was funny because I was on a boat and they had the product on the boat and this planer wouldn't trip right. And I told the captain, I said, if whatever doesn't work, I'm throwing it in the water. I was like, I'll do it on film. Like, don't make me pro staff, because if the product isn't what I can't portray a product as something good if it's not good and I can't use it. And I took this product and I threw it right in front of everyone. I threw it right in the ocean. And I don't feel sorry for that, because I'm not going to put a product out there and tell people to buy something when I wouldn't use it myself. So like the authenticities, you know,
you got to make sure that pro staff stuff is worth it too for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if you got to have the right, you talk about perspective, you got to have the right perspective on that too. Like, is this something that I'm getting value out of? Right. Or is this just something that's trying to change my image to make me something I want people to think that I am? Right. You know, there's all this, you know, and it's a fine line with that pro staff stuff, because, you know, and talk about authenticity, you know, if it's not authentic, people can see right through it, man. Right. You know, they really can. And that's going to harm you, you know. And you, at the end of the day, you know, you're not going to realize it right away. But like we said, with the lesson that my old CEO taught me, one day you're going to look back and be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. That was probably stupid. That wasn't real. You know what I mean? So authenticity it's a big deal. You know, it's like I'm a brand ambassador for both Maui Jim and for Olakai. But part of the reason is because I love those companies. Right. I love the people within those companies, and I'm proud to represent them. You know what I mean? I believe in their products, you know, but I also believe in their philosophies and their mantras. Right. And it's just a good fit for me personally, and I think that's why anyone should do it. You know, I don't, you know, think that there's necessarily make that decision based upon trying to fake it till you make it kind of thing. I guess is, you know, the best way I can say that.
I can tell you a quick story on something on this topic. You know, someone that I love working with that you've had on the show, Bombshell and Mark. So the Pelagic Girls team would have me out for tournaments, and obviously that has to do with like social media and marketing. And there'll be some people on my social media giving flack. You know, everyone's got opinions out there, especially for these huge Instagram, Facebook influencers such as, you know, Bombshell or the other girls. And I put my foot down to that, because they treated me with the most respect of any boat I've ever worked on. And they're super nice to me.
Michelle's awesome.
Dude.
Like, she really is. Like,
she's awesome.
not even just, you know, with her social media profile being like personally, I mean, she's awesome.
She's
She's so nice.
Yeah.
She's so cool. Like, she really is. I mean,
That's my dog, dude.
yeah. She's great.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
So I put my foot down. I put an end to that because there was like a video coming in when we were coming in a tournament. And the girls were doing like makeup on the boat, and I explained to people, that's their job.
Right.
Okay. That's their job, and for some of them, that's how they make their living and whatnot. And I think a lot of it's jealousy, you know. But I got to meet those people behind the social media, and some of the nicest, awesome people out there, you know. So I had to tell that story, you know. Thanks Michelle and Mark. He's a super funny dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he'll say what he thinks on social media too. So I gotta give him credit where credit's due. But Maui Jim story.
He's a professional clown knife fisherman now.
Oh, you know what's crazy? I've never caught a peacock.
Sorry, I know you're gonna appreciate it. I just said that, Mark.
Well, I've never caught a peacock bass, but I've caught a clown.
Oh, really?
Fish, yeah.
Yeah, peacocks are some of my favorites.
So, with Team Bandit, Maui Jim would come out and like Ray Marine and stuff, and they gave us sunglasses. I was like, oh, dude, $200, $300 pair of sunglasses. Like, this is big time. And I dropped it in the marina in Stewart the day after I got the sunglasses, and I didn't have the balls to tell. I think the guy's name was Jim. He was like one of the guys.
Maui Jim?
Yeah. Well, not. I don't think it was Maui Jim.
The Maui Jim?
Could have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was actually in the water and he came up with the sunglasses. And I didn't have
in parrot feathers.
Yeah. I didn't have the balls to tell him that I lost his sunglasses. So I feel terrible, and I went and bought some Costas.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was too scared to tell anyone that I lost his $300 pair of sunglasses.
So you only had them for one day?
You can't give me nice stuff. I destroy things. And like the whole pro staff thing, like if I want a cooler, I'm gonna go buy a cooler. But like here's the thing, like I guess I'm just not cool enough to get anyone else to give me anything. But I'm not a rich guy, so like I'm not gonna say no to like a Yeti cooler.
Right.
I'm not gonna say no to this or that. But you know, the freedom of what I get to do, and kind of like what Jeff talks about, and this is just my experience. This isn't anyone else's experience. It's 2020. Like if you don't talk in I statements, you chap asses. But because everyone thinks it's like pointed towards them, is that like I like the freedom of if I like this, I'm gonna go and buy it and use it. If I like that, I'm gonna go buy it and use it. You know what I mean? But I am not rich. Obviously, this is a rich man's sport, like the tournament stuff. So I 100% appreciate what sponsors do for this sport, what they do for guys like us, what they do for anyone. I 100% am all for it. So I don't want anyone to take that out of context, because I can't go buy.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to knock anyone.
Yeah.
I'll never try to knock anyone. I'm just saying it's got to be form fitted for your life.
Yeah.
You know, and it's got to work. It's got to be a mutual kind of thing, you know,
And-
for any kind of promotion
Yeah.
to happen.
You want to know what else is pretty cool? This week, our team leaves to go fishing. I'm not going to mention names, but we have 3 guys on our boat going to go fishing who've had a past like mine, and there's going to be over 20 years of sobriety on our fishing team.
Really?
Out there between 3 of us, and we're all in our young 30s.
Wow.
Early 30s.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's
admirable.
I thought that was pretty cool, and like guys like us are blessed enough to be able to do stuff like that, and people have helped us along the way, and we get to return that and try to help other people. So shout out to Railman 3. We just got a new 39 contender, Frank and Nick Frasca, up in Palm Beach, and with Quad Mercury 400s.
Wow.
Awesome.
So it's slow.
Awesome guys. Yeah, super slow. I get scared on that thing.
That's Quad 400s.
I get even on their 36 that they had, I think, which had trips. I was so scared. They even they drive their trucks like that too, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm gonna get an Uber.
That's what
I'm gonna get a bicycle.
That's what Harris has on his 48 Intrepid. It's I think it's Quad 425, so the Yamahas.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because we talk about the tensions of tournament and the rigors of working on a boat and everything like that. Sometimes you just need to find the relaxation and joy of just being out on the water and appreciating that. This past Friday I went fishing with Harris. I didn't post anything on social media. It was just him and I, and we just needed the day out together, half day. I'll be honest, we just trolled and just laid back. He put the autopilot on. We just hung out and just talked a lot. You know what I mean? We didn't catch anything. We didn't work hard. We didn't try to catch anything, really, to be honest with you. We were just kind of like rolling around, but it was the therapy that I needed for that particular week. So there's value in that.
100%.
And I want people out there that maybe you're listening to this. You don't need to be fishing tournaments, and you don't need to be busting your ass in the boat to become connected by water and enjoying the little things about this lifestyle, or this industry or whatever you want to call it. So, and I think it's important to keep that perspective of understanding that every now and then you're going to take a picture of that sunset because it looks cool, or that sunrise, like when you're first coming out of the inlighter, and there's a reason behind that. That's why you're there.
For that. I live for that.
You got to appreciate the lapping of the water on the hull when you're coming out of the inlet, and just understanding that is not ground. I'm happy to be here. Thank God for those moments in your life, and all that sentimental kind of stuff. Understanding that you don't want to take for granted that you're on a $500,000, $600,000 boat. That's not yours, and you're fortunate to be there. And the live at $10 a goggle eye or whatever the case.
It's so easy to get ungrateful.
Yeah,
and I'll be honest. Like that's why I just want to be completely honest on your show, because I think that is what kind of Connected by Water is. It's kind of like, because I want to be honest about the tournament fishing and how it can be, or my life or something like that, and just maybe other people start getting honest, and then it'll help other people out in their lives. But like, it is super easy to get caught up in the moment, and just in life in general, not just fishing, whether it's tournaments or not, but just to be like, when I go to the Bahamas, sometimes it's nice when I don't get any internet. Because I'll be able to sit on a rock in the morning and watch the sunset come up. And it was a day that they didn't want to go fishing because it was too rough, and it was just what I needed at that moment, with no internet, no phone, sitting on a rock in the Bahamas watching the sunset come up. And it centers me, it humbles me, it brings me back to life in the moment. And that's what spirituality is about. It's what's happening right now. Not about what I can't control in the future or what I couldn't have controlled in the past.
That's great. That's great. And, I have to roll my eyes too at the people that open their mouths and make fun of other people in the water. Some guys, sometimes it's warranted and justified, but you know what I mean? But a lot of times it's like, is that a time where you need to take the perspective of, hey, we all started somewhere, and, rather than just flat out ripping everybody all the time. Right. That's also what Connected by Water is all about too, is being a good steward of the community in the proper way. So.
I always wondered why that kind of was. I mean, I guess maybe because I'm not from here. But don't get me wrong, I make fun of people. But
well, then what happened? I don't want to mess up your point here, but I just keep forgetting to bring this up. What's that video that you posted? You had like a bunch of dudes on the bow. Like, I don't know, man. It was like during COVID or whatever, and there was like 6 guys up on the bow. I don't know. What was that all about?
And I was yelling at them to reel.
Was it? I don't know, man. They were all like taking selfies up on the bow.
Yeah, they were fighting a shark.
So we can make fun of that.
But they had a blast.
They had a blast, right?
We took them mahi fishing, sail fishing, and they wanted to catch a shark. And they had a blast to that shark. But like, see, my social media, I'm not like really making fun of them, but like I was like dancing kind of, and I was like, I wasn't. It was more showing like a good time.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was funny. I mean, it's like, at one point, like we were those kids on the bow that were just all like hanging out with their buddies. Maybe they just wanted to just go out and have a good time with their friends and catch a bunch of fish. And, it doesn't always have to be this like,
I can't really make fun of too many people because it wasn't that long ago. I was calling captains in Florida like, yo, dude, you got a shark charter? And they'll be like, no, we don't. Don't you want to catch like a mahi or a sailfish? Like not too long ago, I had a bicycle with a rod rack on the back of it, and I drove it around. I didn't even have a car. And I would go to the bridges and catch snook, and snook was my meal for the day.
You know what I call that?
What?
Passion.
Yeah. 100%.
It's true. Because you could have easily have just not done that and just watched TV all day.
Or collected unemployment
Or
and
whatever.
felt terrible. But I would get rice from Walmart and I would catch snook. That's why I can't really eat snook that much
Right?
anymore, because that's how I survived in my early years here in Florida. I would catch snook and put it in my book bag, go to 7-Eleven, get some ice out of they have these beer tub
Mm-hmm.
things in 7-Eleven, and I would scrape some into my book bag with a dead snook in it, and then I'd get a bag of rice because it's real cheap, and that's how I would eat.
Wow.
That's how I survived when I
This
first
is when
came
you were
here.
living on park benches?
No, that was only for like a week,
Okay.
you know.
Thank God.
I don't like the pain or not having an address
Right.
and leaves in my hair and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not fun.
So that didn't last long, but
Yeah.
I had to get honest with people from where I was at, so on and so forth, years ago, to how blessed and fortunate and the people that I surround myself and the people that surround themselves with me,
Yeah.
and try to bring a message of hope to somebody. And it may affect a future business opportunity, but if they judge me upon that, it's completely fine. They're allowed to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but it wasn't meant to be. And that's my philosophy in life.
Well, I think
these
it's an
days.
interesting story. I think it's, it's, the path that's made you who you are today. I like who's sitting in front of me. And I think it's very interesting that this fishing life, has been something of value to you, to where it could lift you up and put you on like a new path for life. And, and there's a lot of pride, I'm sure, that you have for that. And we feel pride for you, for that, so it's awesome, and I appreciate you coming in and opening up about that today, and, telling us all about that and learning about you. And, and I was impressed with it all, for certain. I know we did a lot of fishing talk today, more than I usually do, but we always try to get a little bit underneath that, and, so thanks for opening up about all that stuff.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm always an advocate to do. Doesn't have to be fishing. To whatever you have a passion.
Right.
Or I used to watch those YouTube motivational videos.
Mhm.
It sounds so corny, like quit your job today, do what you love to do, like all the successful like Denzel Washington videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I woke up one morning and I did it. I was so scared. So I'm a huge advocate to go chase whatever
Hey,
you love.
I had a really good career that I just walked away from
Yeah.
to open this place.
Yeah.
With one room. I was telling you before we started the show, one room down the hall,
100%.
when I didn't really have that money to open up to have my own studio. I was going to work out of the house, but here we are today.
100%. But like, thank you for having me. I'm
Yeah.
able to sit in the same chair that some
I'm going to have
goats,
to,
some giants have
yeah.
sat. Like, I remember Skip Dane. I was going out on a charter one day with my friends, and I was like, Skip probably doesn't even know who I am, He messaged me on Facebook, and he's like, hey, I've been following you. And he's like, just keep up the good work, kid.
Skip's cool, dude.
And I was
man.
like, I held my phone up in the air in the middle of the ocean, like, do you guys believe who just messaged me, And I just hope I can remain to have a good attitude, remain teachable and open-minded, and hopefully make an impact in not only the fishing career, but in life in general. And just for you guys to have me out and talk to me is just huge. And I already gave all the shout outs covering, thanks to everyone else. So I just, honestly.
It's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. And I will just add one thing about Skip Dana. Like, he is a good navigator of who is a genuine person. He really is.
Right.
It's a real talent that he has. He's a good guy. Genuine himself, obviously. So, cool, man. So what's next for you? You're on your way to St. Augustine?
St. Augustine. The Zen might be leaving a little bit because it's tournament time, and I'm going to be getting fired up.
Right.
But I'm going to do our best. We're bringing a goon squad up to St. Augustine, and we're leaving at probably like 2 o'clock in the morning. We'll be bait fishing,
Yep.
pre-fishing, and I need a new truck, so hopefully we can win a couple bucks or something like that, and maybe
Right.
I'll have to go see your sponsors. And
Gotta go see Joey. Gotta go see
Yeah.
Dean.
I've heard
Definitely.
heard really good things, and then some Bahamas tuna fishing, some yellowfin fishing.
Oh, nice.
And then
What's up with Dave's? He's getting rid of the limit out.
Yeah, he moved to London.
What?
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not like news, but yeah, he moved to London. He got offered a job he couldn't refuse, so
Oh, my goodness.
he's selling the boat.
I was wondering why the boat was up for sale.
39 contender, fully loaded. If anyone's interested, I'll
So
send you pictures.
let's throw that up there, John.
Yeah.
So it's because it really is a brand new Sea Hunter.
Brand new. It's a year old. I'm the one who maintained it and kept up with it, or I helped.
Right.
So we know it's in pretty good condition. That's the only thing I'm good for is cleaning a good
Yeah,
boat.
and I can say Dave's a real straight up guy, but like I mean, talking about with like just taking care of his things and keeping things right. So you know that boat's going to be in
to
great
a
condition.
T. Yeah, and it's got Trip Yamaha, the new ones. I think it's the drawing a blank here. It's like the
425s.
425s.
Yeah.
And it's got joystick on it. It's just fully loaded. You can't do anything else to it. And it's at Sea Hunter in Key Largo, and you can go take it for a ride.
Yeah. All right.
If you want,
we'll throw that up and give a little shout out to that.
We'll call Dave, and all three of us will go down there and we'll go.
He hasn't left yet.
No, he's in London. I still talk to him.
Yeah.
He lives vicariously through us, through the phone calls and through social media. But we'll have to tell him we need to go test drive his Sea Hunter. We'll go take the 30. The three of us will go take the 39 out and go catch some mahi down there.
Yeah, ready when you are. So let me know.
I'm in.
Yeah, you want to come? John always wants to come. We had John Van Dellen, the captain of the Singularis, on last week, and I was like, oh, if you need me to be a stowaway for the Big Rock tournament, let me know. And John's like, yeah, you got the 2 stowaways.
I'll make the sandwiches for someone in the Big Rock or the White Marlin Open or something like that.
Yeah, right on. Cool, man. All right, so we're gonna exit plan here. So thanks for coming out, brother.
Thanks for having me. It's definitely an honor and a privilege.
Right on, bro. Your ego is not your amigo. Always do your best and let God do the rest. Always buy all your vehicles at Joey Cardi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. If you do go down there, remember, go see my buddy Dean. Tell him I sent you. He will hook you up. Right. I also want to remind you, go to connectedbywater.com for all your marine life creative needs. And also support our friends at Papa's Raw Bar. They are open. We went there the other day. There's a brand new menu on the Papa's menu. It's a brand new sushi menu, and it says it's a Connected by Water sushi, inspired by Connected by Water D.Friel. It says it right on there in the menu. Maybe John can throw that picture up there.
I put it on the last one too. I don't know if you saw that.
We are the sushi menu at Papa's Raw Bar. So they're open. They're doing great. Cassie and Troy got it dialed in. Everything's clean and sanitary. The staff is amazing. The food is, as you know, incredible. Go check them out and support them. All right. Any more shout outs I need to do? That's it.
You covered them.
I covered them. All right. No matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we're always connected by water. Taylor DeFusco, thank you very much, brother.
Thanks, boys.
Yep.